for you to allow your child to attend school for 3 days to take the state assessment. Parents, feel free to ask questions in the chat box. At the end of this presentation, we will have a Q&A section. So at this time, take a moment to mute your mic, turn off your camera, so we can have a smooth presentation. Thank you. So let's begin. On this slide, parents, I want to talk about a big win we have at our school right now. We haven't had to send clusters of students home for COVID-19 cases. I'm going to give us a round of applause. We have followed the CDC guidelines. Also, parents, the purpose of this meeting is to make sure that you trust us with your child for 3 testing days. We have plenty of PPE equipment. I want all the parents to know we have plenty of masks, we have gloves, we have hand sanitizer, we have face shields, we have plenty of PPE equipment to make sure that your child will be safe. We will only need your child for 3 testing grades, and we'll talk about the schedule later, so you will be informed on which days your child will be testing. We want you to know that we will have a safe testing environment. The purpose of this meeting is to inform families of the upcoming TNReady testing process. Also, we will explain the state's requirement for all students to take the test in person at school. To outline the protocols for student safety while administering the required in-person tests. We will also explain why the test is important for students at our school. Here's an overview. The state requires all students in grades 3rd through 8th and high school students in tested subjects to take TNReady and EOC tests in person. It is very important for parents to ensure students are present at the school on testing day. This includes all students who are currently learning virtually. This is important. This is why we are here today. If your child is at home learning virtually, we need them here to take the TNReady assessment. Student safety is our priority as we prepare to administer the required in-person tests in May. I know a lot of parents are asking, why are we testing students? TNReady EOC tests are required by the state and federal governments. State tests have not been administered since 2019. So it is very important to measure how students are performing in terms of mastering essential state learning standards for college and career readiness. The state has extended the testing window to allow schools more flexibility to accommodate families and ensure proper health and safety measures are in place for in-person testing for all schools. Why are we here and what is our percentage? So the federal government requires 95% participation. So if we were in person, we have to have 95% of our students take the TNReady assessment. And Tennessee this year is seeking a federal waiver to lower the threshold to 80%. So right now our goal is 90%. We need 90% of our students here in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade to be present to take the TCAP assessment. Why are the state tests important? Let me tell you why. The test provides schools and families with information about how well students are meeting grade level learning expectations. Parents can see how their child is progressing compared to peers in the district. The tests are used to determine eligibility for placement in honors, advanced courses, as well as entry into the optional or CLU program. The tests help parents determine additional personalized learning supports and interventions. The test holds schools accountable for ensuring equity in our instruction and serving all students fairly. The test highlights schools that are excelling, which means the more schools that they can highlight, which means more schools learn and apply those same best practices to support students. This is a very important flyer, parents. If you can zoom in on the bottom part, the blue. This is the Accountability Hold Harmless Act. This legislation removes negative consequences associated with evaluation and accountability this year, so long as the district meets at least 80% participation rate for TCAP assessments or receives a waiver. We did not receive a waiver, so everyone, we must have at least 80% of our students to take the TCAP assessment. Can you please mute your mic, please? Thank you. So parents, this is why we have to have at least 80% of our students to take this assessment, so we will not be held harmless. If not, our scores will count. Why is it important for students to attend school in person to test? Students who attend school on testing days will receive a 100 class participation grade in every tested subject. Attendance counts on testing days, and only students who come to school in person will be counted as present. So parents, if you choose not to send your child to school to take the TCAP assessment, they will be counted absent. So only students who are present on testing days will be counted as present. If all students do not take the test at school on testing days, funding for the school and the district could be impacted. This could cause us to have fewer teachers. So that means we'll have fewer teachers with bigger class sizes. And you know, it's really difficult for teachers to teach with bigger class sizes. That means more students in the class and fewer resources to support our students. So we need all the funding we can get, parents. So that's why it's so crucial for you to allow your child just to be with us those 3 days. And I guarantee that we'll make sure that your child will be in a safe learning environment. So here is the TNReady schedule. If you have a child in 3rd grade, they will be assessing May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. 3rd grade is highlighted in yellow. 4th grade is highlighted in orange. 5th grade, green. 2nd grade in blue. If you all notice on this calendar, ELA will be the first subject tested for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Here is another testing schedule. It might be easier on your eyes. Parents, you can take a picture of this. So 3rd grade, May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. 4th grade, May 6th, May 10th, May 11th. 5th grade, May 7th, May 12th, May 13th. And then below this chart, you see 2nd grade, May 17th, May 18th, May 19th. So parents, if you would like to take a picture of this, you may. And then I'm going to go back to the other slide if you would like to take a picture of the calendar. And it's color coded as well. Okay, parents, on the calendar, you notice that the students are taking ELA, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's important for students to take the ELA because ELA subpart 1 would need to be completed the first week, May 3rd through May 7th. The state will ask us to return these materials by May 7th. So the first week, subpart 1 of ELA will be writing. So parents, if you want to go over some strategies to assist your child, how to improve their sentence structure or how to create strong paragraphs, you feel free to go on Tennessee Department of Education website. They have sample writing prompts, and they even have different assessments scored, so you can see what a level 5 look like, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can get tips, but they will be writing strong on during the first week of testing.
Could you repeat that website again?
Tennessee Department of Education.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here are the TCAP testing protocols. Drop-off time will start at 7:45. Please do not drop off students before this time for safety reasons. Students may not exit the car until their temperature has been checked. Parents will check students' temperature before leaving home. That's ideal, but if not, it's okay because we do have thermometers. Usually, if your child is a car rider, you will see me and the PLC coach standing right there, welcoming you all in with open arms, and we have our thermometers. We are always there on time at 7:45 waiting for everyone. Unfortunately, parents will not be permitted to walk their students to class. Remember, we are still living and working during a pandemic, so we must follow the COVID-19 protocols, the CDC protocols right now. So parents, I am right there. If you have any questions, the PLC coach or I can help you. Students will be required to wear masks over their nose and mouth before entering the building and must keep their masks on unless eating or at recess. So parents' masks are required. Students must stand 6 feet apart while waiting to enter the building according to the school protocols. If your child is a car rider, if you choose to drop your child off for those 3 days, we do have white lines in the front of the school and we have pictures to show you later. That's where they will stand 6 feet apart and continue to move up when we take their temperature. Ms. Glazier?
I'm sorry, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, ma'am.
So today's students exit the car and their temperature is taken at the door. On these specific days, you're saying that temperature will be taken before they exit the car. Is that correct?
That's just the overall protocol, but no, ma'am,
Okay.
they can still
Okay.
get out of the car and we will be there to check their temperature, so you don't have to worry about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What happens to students who don't know where their teacher's classroom is, since this will be their first day attending all year?
We have a protocol set up for that. Once your child comes in, it depends on their testing day. Say, for example, third grade is May 3rd. So third graders is their first day. So when they come into the building, we'll have third grade in a certain area and they will stay there until we come in with the student list and we will line them up by classroom and walk them to their class. So they'll be safe. Ms. Glazier, it's your turn.
Okay. Well, I would love to first introduce myself. My name is Miss Ricky Glazer, and I am the PLC coach at Cordova. And I just want to say hello, CS families. Thank you for your attendance tonight. When your child comes to CES in person for the TNReady test, they will follow the same guidelines that our in-person students have followed since we returned in March. That includes, as you see in this picture, face mask, and as Miss Patton just mentioned, temperature check. So the first thing that happens when your child either gets off the bus or gets out of the car is we greet them and we make sure that everyone has a face mask and everyone gets a temperature check. We would like for you to send your child with a face mask, but we understand we're human and we sometimes forget. And so we do have a supply readily available that we give if someone has forgotten their face mask. In this picture, you see our lovely Miss Whalen. She is one of our secretaries in the front office, and she's just showing you, we wear a face mask and we socially distance. Next slide, please. Okay, so hallways. Not only do we make sure that we socially distance as we come in the door, wearing our face mask and getting our temperatures checked, but if you look closely at the picture, this is one of our main hallways, and there are circles with little footprints going all the way down the hallway. So those round stickers are great visuals for the adults and our students in the building to stay 6 feet apart. Those are our social distance visual stickers, as well as on the wall, we've marked with posters to help keep a visual, to help keep that social distance and that safety on our minds. And next slide, please. All right, this is I want you to zoom in your attention to the shields that are on these tables. So this picture really showcases the desk shields. All students will utilize desk shields. It's just another safety measure that is put in place to help keep us safe and to keep us socially distanced. So every student that is currently in our building and all the students when they come in for testing will have a desk with a shield set up for them. Next slide, please. So this is another way we give visuals to our students and to adults. I would like for you to just zoom your eyes in on the white marks. So all around our building, the sidewalks have these white hash marks every 6 feet. It is another visual that we have in place to help us keep that social distance on our minds and help us to stay safe. And this is all around the school building on the bus side and on the car rider side. It goes from the 3rd grade entrance all the way around the building to the kindergarten entrance. Next slide, please. So, enhanced health and safety protocols. We have increased our cleaning. So all common areas are cleaned and disinfected 2 times a day. There is thorough cleaning, disinfection of all frequently touched areas 4 times a day. And tissue, paper towels, hand soap, hand sanitizer, dispensers, all of our areas are restocked and we have a steady stock that is checked. Safeguards to limit spread of germs. Temperature and health check, like we mentioned earlier. If there's a student with a fever or an adult with a fever, they're not allowed to remain at school. We have an isolation area that's designated for anyone with symptoms. Just like our picture showed a moment ago, we have those social distance markers in the building. They are great visuals. They help us all try to remember to stay that 6 feet apart. Our classrooms, we have reduced the class transitions. So students, they eat breakfast in the classroom, they eat their lunch in the classroom. The teachers move. If you have a child that has multiple teachers, like in our 3rd through 5th grade, the students don't move and they stay in their classroom. So we have reduced those transitions. The only time we move in the building is for arrival and dismissal, bathroom breaks, and when students have their recess time. Limiting class interactions and gatherings, so that goes along with that limited transition period. Hand sanitizer station, so every classroom has what we call a PPE station. And then also in the hallways, we have our hand sanitizer. And then there are frequent opportunities for hand washing. Use of personal protective equipment, our PPE. So once again, all students, all adults must wear a face mask. And if a child or an adult forgets, we have a supply to give them. Staff and visitors, we limit our visitors. If parents do have questions, we do come up and try to answer them and make sure that all of your questions are answered. And we have an emergency stock. So we have enough PPE for our students. Once again, that health and safety signage, it's all throughout the building. That social distancing, we try to keep as much as feasible, we try to keep our students socially distanced. Visitor entry guidelines and mask requirements are throughout the building, and then as well as the signage for hand washing. Next slide, please. So our instructional space. So this is, I think, when we're talking about instructional space, this is the classroom where your child will take the test. So desks are situated 6 feet apart, and they're facing the same direction. Just like that picture earlier we showed you, there are shields for each child, and it is attached to the desk. There are 14 desks in a classroom. We do not put more than 14 desks in a room. Students will need to bring their electronic devices each day for the test, their chargers, their charging cords. They need to bring a water bottle and a lunch. And we just like for our in-person students, we do have a cafeteria and can provide that lunch. Devices, once again, should be charged every night. Next slide, please.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My child, he's virtual learning. He will be going, having to go in for the test. Does he need to take all of his books?
No, ma'am.
No?
No,
Okay.
ma'am. Just bring just his electronic device.
Okay.
Thank you. So this is a
Ma'am,
visual.
the students even need to bring pencils with them, ma'am, the pencils, erasers.
Yes, your child can bring number 2 pencils.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay.
What about the device? So he has his school issued tablet, but he also has a laptop which has a larger screen than that tablet. Can he bring his laptop instead of that tablet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you'll take a look at this picture, it is another visual for you. You can see on the left a classroom where the desks are situated. There's 14 desks in the classroom, socially distanced. And then we have on the right, you can see a zoomed in picture of that desk shield. Next slide, please. All right, so let's talk about student devices and classroom instruction. So students will bring their fully charged SCS device and power cords daily. Students will bring their cleaned and disinfected headsets daily. Instructional content and curriculum will remain the same. And students with individual instructional technology needs will be assisted as needed. All right, thank you so much. I'm going to pass it on over now to Ms. Hibbler, our behavior specialist.
I had one question. They never received the headset. They need to bring in their own.
We have extra headsets here at the school. We can provide them to your child. Did that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, thank you. Ms. Hibbler?
All right, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. Like Ms. Glazer said, my name is Aisha Hibbler, and I'm the school's behavioral specialist. Now we will go over TCAP testing safety protocols and pretty much what it will look like when your child enters the school. Student temperatures will be checked before exiting the car, but like Ms. Patton said, they will exit the car and we'll check it at the door. Temperatures of 100.4 and above will not be allowed to enter the building. Walkers will have their temperatures checked before entering the building. Same thing applies. If their temperature is above 100.4, they will not be allowed to enter the building. Students will enter from 4 locations. The first location will be the main door, and the main door will be used for car riders and walkers. The second entrance will be The side door on 3rd grade hall, and that will be for bus riders. The back door, which is on 1st grade hall, will be for daycare riders. And lastly, the side door on KK hall will be for pre-K to enter. Parents are asked to drop their children off at their designated drop-off location. During inclement weather situations, students will sit in the gym, the cafeteria, and the hallway to maintain social distance. Next slide, please. For car riders, parents pull up to their child's entry door. Their temperature will be checked at the front entrance. Siblings must be dropped off at their entry door, and their temperature will be scanned at that entrance. Students should go directly into the building through their entry door. Students should go directly to the gym or the cafeteria. Walkers. All walkers must be escorted by parents until their child's temperature has been checked. So parents, be sure to get their temperature checked before you leave. Walkers will stop at the person checking temperatures on the sidewalk in front of their entry door. Once the temperature is checked, only the student may enter the building. Next slide, please. Temperature checks. Students found to have an elevated temperature upon first reading will undergo a second reading before being sent to the safety room. Masks are mandatory. We have extra masks and PPE equipment for all students. Next slide, please. Safe room protocols. And this is pretty much what the plan is for us to all remain safe while in the building. We will allow all symptomatic faculty, staff, and/or students to wait in the safe room. We'll ensure that everyone entering the safe room maintains and uses appropriate personal protective equipment, which is PPE that we've been talking about, and also that they follow safety guidelines. We will complete the appropriate incident forms for anyone entering the safe room and maintain an electronic log. The parent or guardian will be immediately notified of the status of a symptomatic student upon the student's entry into the safe room. We will ask the parent or guardian to immediately pick up their student from school and seek medical attention. And we will also ask them to follow emergency medical protocol if conditions warrant. We'll ask parents or guardians to provide medical clearance from a provider before the student returns to school. And also for face coverings, we do not place face coverings or surgical masks on anyone who is unconscious or has trouble breathing, who is incapacitated or otherwise unable to remove the face covering without assistance, or cannot tolerate a face covering due to developmental, medical, or behavioral needs. Next slide, please. Disinfecting the safe room. The principal or designee monitors symptoms and follows these action steps after individuals are admitted to the safe room. They will notify custodial staff once faculty, staff, and students have vacated the area, and the custodial staff will clean and disinfect the area or room once faculty, staff, and students have vacated the area. Next slide, please.
Ms. Robinson.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sheena Robinson, the assistant principal at Cordova Elementary School. I will be reviewing the bus riders, car riders, walkers, bike riders, daycare riders, arrival. Parents, we ask that you check all students' temperatures before leaving home. That is car riders, bus, walkers, and even our bike riders, as well as our daycare, which is Y-Care. Parents, we ask that you drop off in the designated area at the designated drop-off times, which is 7:45 for car riders and walkers. Buses usually arrive between 7:50 and 8:05 every morning. Students, riders, and walkers will enter the building at entrances specified by personnel, which is the front of the building, which Ms. Patton and Ms. Glazer will greet the students. Students must wear a mask at the bus stop and entering the building. As stated by Ms. Patton, Ms. Glazer, Ms. Hibbler about car riders and walkers, I'm going to dive a little deeper into bus riders. The students are to wear masks at the bus stop and before entering or getting on the bus. They will also be required to wear masks before entering the school building. When entering the school building, the buses are let out on the third grade hall, which is the back of our building. The students are greeted by myself, Ms. Robinson, and Ms. Hibbler, the behavioral specialist. The students must stand 6 feet apart at the bus stop and while entering the building, which will be standing there to ensure that the students are standing on the white lines, which are located around our entire building, where there is drop-off dismissal spaces. The students are seated in assigned seats on the bus. Siblings will be allowed to sit together. On the bus, the first seat on the bus is actually, students do not sit in that space. Students have assigned seats, and for those students who are new to riding the bus driver will assign those students to designated seats for the 3 days of testing. Students will unload in the designated area. Upon arrival, as I stated, the temperatures will be checked by myself, Ms. Robinson, and Ms. Hibbler for the bus stations. Next slide. The state of Tennessee requires all students in grades 3 through 8 and all high school students in courses with the state end of course test to be tested as a part of the Tennessee Comprehensive Assessment Program. The state tests all administered with paper and pencil must be given in person at all schools. So it is imperative that parents are informed of their child or children being required to attend school on these 3 testing days. Transportation may be available for those who live beyond 1.5 miles for elementary, middle, and beyond 2 miles for high school students. A transportation survey is available for students in PowerSchool portal. Next slide, please. Bus transportation and drivers. Students should practice social distancing at the bus stop and wear their masks. School bus routes will remain the same. Buses will be cleaned and disinfected between routes and at the end of each day. Students who ride the bus will be required to wear a mask. Next slide, please. Dorm employees have been screened each day as they arrive to work with temperature checks and the CDC guideline questions. The employees are required to wear disposable or clean reusable masks. The buses are cleaned and disinfected with spray twice daily between each route, AM and PM. Hand sanitizer will be available on all buses for student and driver usage. Bus driver will provide students with additional masks as needed in case they break or a student takes it off and it drops and they want a new one. The bus drivers will provide that. Drivers will disinfect high-touch surface areas throughout the day. Drivers will ensure first row of bus is empty to ensure social distancing. Drivers will wear a mask while driving unless it causes a safety concern. The drivers will also use gloves to eliminate some of the contamination between touching surfaces. Next slide, please. Drivers will be required. The safety and PPE protocol for CES Cordova Elementary is the drivers will be required to wear a face shield in addition to a disposable mask covering when securing wheelchairs, car seats, and seat belts. Temperature checks for students will be implemented at schools when students first arrive in the AM, We are looking into implementing seating charts, which we have, to identify bus riders and to help with contact tracing. As I stated, our regular bus riders have a assigned seat currently. For those students who will be riding the bus as assigned, we will give the student a assigned seat on the days that they ride the bus. It is recommended that siblings and students in the same household sit together. Next slide, please. Now, recess and mass breaks. Recess and physical activity is a state mandate. Students will participate in recess or physical activity. Students will go outside when weather permits. C&I department has provided guidance for indoor physical activities for days that weather does not permit. Every effort will be made for students to have recess with their class cohort while engaging in some degree of physical distancing. School administrators should plan to stagger recess times. Students will sanitize their hands before and after recess. Recess and mass breaks should be duplicated for at-home learners as well. Our playground equipment will be inaccessible, but for students having outside play, they will play in the outside designated areas that have been assigned to that teacher. Next slide, please. Transitions in the hallway will be limited. End of day dismissal will be scheduled on a staggered basis. Ms. Patton actually gets over the intercom and dismisses the grade levels one at a time, and she lets them know where to move and when to move. Restroom breaks, lunch breaks, mass breaks, and physical activities will be scheduled on a staggered basis and will be aligned to the most current CDC and Shelby County Health Department guidelines. Next slide, please. Our school lunches this year are actually provided in the classroom. The students pick up their breakfast as they walk in from walkers, car riders, or buses, and they take it to the classroom and they eat within the classroom. Lunch is delivered and boxed separately and brought to each classroom, and the students pick it up from the entrance of their classroom door, and they eat in the classroom with the cohort that they have been with. They have the normal schedule, and virtual parents pick up lunches at the schools. Next slide, please. For dismissal, parents must be aware that car riders pick up in the front of the building, and they are dismissed in the car rider line where students have numbers. If your child does not have a number, you just give them that child's name, and they will call the child out to the car where they will be loaded by a teacher. The walkers go out of the second grade hallway door, and they actually go down the sidewalk with a supervised grade level teacher and wait for the parents to be dismissed. Students will depart the building at those designated exits. They must be wearing a mask while exiting and entering the waiting areas of cars as well as walkers. They still must maintain the 6 feet distance and wear a mask. Parents will not be allowed to exit their car or gather in groups while waiting for students to dismiss. Bus riders will be dismissed based on the school's protocol, which is we have the students social distance in the multi-purpose room, and the buses are called down as they arrive. Student masks must be worn properly before entering the bus, during the bus ride, and upon exiting the bus. Now I'm giving it to Mr. Farrell, our school counselor for 3rd through 5th grade.
All right, so now you may wonder, once they arrive and before they dismiss, what will their day during testing look like? So from 7:15 to 7:30, you can see our student is traveling to the school. When they arrive, let's say our student's name is Angela. Angela enters the building and gets her temperature checked at the front door while wearing her mask. She will then proceed to a designated area to eat breakfast. For us, our students have been eating breakfast in their classroom. And the school will continue to practice social distancing during this time to the greatest extent possible. Then from 8 to 11 a.m., Angela washes her hands before entering the classroom or testing room. Angela enters the classroom and finds her seat for testing because they have assigned seats. Angela continues to wear a mask. Angela receives instruction from her teacher for assessment. And throughout the morning instruction, Angela will go to the restroom to wash her hands. Then from 11 to 11:30 a.m., Angela goes and washes her hands and eats lunch in the classroom or designated area. And once again, for our students, that would be the classroom. At the end of lunchtime, after lunch is over, Angela washes her hands and then returns back to the classroom or the testing room. Then from 11:30 to 3:30 p.m., Angela receives instruction once again from her teacher for assessment. And then Angela returns to the class for afternoon classes. Recess, outside breaks will be incorporated into the school time. And then at 3 o'clock, Angela prepares to go home and exits the building. Next slide, please. This slide here is simply a graphic of what we just talked about. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, Angela waiting at the bus stop, waiting to come to school between 7:30 and 7:55. She enters the building wearing her mask, gets her temperature checked, proceeds to a designated area to eat her breakfast, all while practicing social distancing. And then from 8 to 11, she washes up before entering the classroom, enters her classroom, finds her seat while wearing her mask, receives instruction from her teacher, and throughout the morning instruction, she will have opportunity to go to the restroom and to wash her hands. Then at 11 to 11:30 a.m., when it's lunchtime, Angela will wash her hands and eat lunch in the classroom or designated area. And once lunch is over, Angela washes her hands and returns back to the classroom. Once she returns back to the classroom at 11:30, from 11:30 to 3:30, she receives instructions from her teacher for assessment. And then Angela returns to class for afternoon classes, including what might also be recess or outside breaks that have been incorporated into her day. And then at 3 o'clock, Angela prepares to go home and exits the building. Next slide, please. During testing all day long, students will be required to wear a face mask. However, because we are encouraging students to come in and we want them to be excited about testing and we want to have a relaxed testing atmosphere so that they will do their best, we are relaxing our uniform policy between May 3rd and May 26th. This, however, does not mean that they can wear flip-flops. They cannot wear flip-flops. That is a safety issue. All shoes must have a strap on the back heel. And that wraps it up for me. I think Miss Doss is next.
Good evening. My name is Thelma Doss. I am the kindergarten through second grade counselor for Cordova Elementary School. And I think I have the fun parts to tell you. This is our TCAP Spirit, May the 3rd through the 26th. On that first day of testing, we're going to have test day 1, blow the test out of the water. So the students will receive blow pops. On that second day, we're going to have a starburst. You're a star bursting with knowledge. That's testing day 2. Testing day 3, chips. It's crunch time. Show what you know. Now, for each of those 3 days, each grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, will participate and get all of the same items. Also, for the 2nd grade, they will get some of those items, but their second day of test will be fruit snacks. You're an expert. You're on a roll. Do your best and show what you know. Now, I left this for last. On that last 3rd day of testing, we're going to have a snow cone truck. And on that day, the 3rd grade will get theirs on May the
5th.
Did you make that just a little larger?
It's May 5th.
May 5th. They will get it, and also the kindergarten. So we also are going to make sure that all the children receive the treat, whether they're testing or not. So they will receive it on May the 5th. On the 4th grade will get theirs on that third day, May the 11th, along with the first grade classes. And the fifth grade will get theirs on May the 16th,
18th.
along, what's that?
May 18th.
May 18th, along with pre-K. So I guess I'm really gonna have to recognize that I need glasses, you all, because I'm not seeing that too well. Second grade will get theirs on May the 19th. So all of the children, all whether they testing or not, will be able to participate in our treat day, especially on that snow cone. And I know all students love snow cones, even the adults. So we plan to have a good time also while we're testing. Next slide, please. Now, this week is Spirit Week, April the 26th to the 30th. On today, April the 26th was hats off to TCAP. So we wanted all our students, everyone is getting involved there, admin team, teachers, everyone. On tomorrow, Tuesday, April the 27th, is Jersey Day. Team Up Tuesday, wear your favorite jersey or t-shirt. On Wednesday, April the 28th, Wacky Socks, Sock It to TCAP. On Thursday, April the 29th, is Superhero. What's your testing superpower? And on Friday, April the 30th, is CES Pride. Wear your Cubs shirt, CES t-shirt, or school colors, red, white, or blue. Also, everyone is invited to participate, in person or virtual students. And I'm going to even add parents. We want you to participate also. And also, we want you to share your photos with the teacher through Class Dojo. We would love to share on our school website, social media platform. So make sure you participate, and we look forward to seeing the students in the jerseys on tomorrow. Next slide, please. And also, we have some promotional flyers. And one talks about the popcorn popping in. So we're trying to get some different people to donate some things for us. We're doing donuts, and we're also doing popcorn on different days. So we have a lot of things planned for our students. We appreciate that you're allowing them to come to the school, but we're going to do something for the students that will be coming in that week, and the students who are already there in person. Next slide. Now, parents, there are some things that we know the teachers are doing, and they're talking about testing, but there are some things that you could do too to help the students so they won't have so much anxiety. Be prepared. Make sure the child know the content, have students solve and review together, practice tests. That's what the teachers are doing now. You can make sure they arrive early. Encourage students to arrive early. This is a time to relax and increase confidence. Make sure the student is listening. Encourage students to listen attentively to instruction. Students are less likely to exhibit anxiety when they understand the instruction. The fourth step, read directions carefully and watch for details. Encourage students to take time to read and understand what is being asked of them. Pay attention to details, multiple select answers. When taking the time to understand what is being asked, there is less confusion. 5, plan how you will use the allotted time. Tell students to pace themselves. Answer the easier questions first and return to the more challenging question. 6, look for cues. If two answers are similar, usually they are not the correct answer. Look for cues from other questions. Watch for grammatically correct responses. If grammatical errors, usually the wrong answer. Answer all the questions. Answer questions that you know first. Do not waste time on those who you are unsure about. Come back to them later. If you do not know them, make an educated guess. Do not leave any answers blank. If time is running out, make sure to answer every question. Be confident. Disregard patterns on the answer sheet. Rely on your first impression. The first choice that seems correct is most likely the correct answer. Do not second guess yourself. When finished, go back and review questions you were unsure about. Make sure that every question has an answer bubble in. Parents, when your child gets up that morning to take that test, just encourage them, say, to do your best. We want to keep the anxiety level down as low as possible. So just encourage them to do their best, and they got it. Just let them know just to do their best. Next slide. Okay, Miss Patton, back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Dawes. Parents, I'm gonna go back to that testing slide. I give you a few seconds to take a picture because these are really good tips for you to go over with your child. We want to make sure that your child comes to school prepared, arrives early, make sure that he listen, read the directions carefully, plan how you will use the allotted time because remember, students will be timed. Look for cues or clues. We want them to answer all the questions. We don't want them to rush, but we want to make sure that they answer all the questions. Most importantly, parents, we want them to be confident. Rely on your first impression. And when finished, always go back and review questions to make sure that they bubbled in all the answers. This is crucial for us this year. Students, we're ready for you to shine. Parents, again, I want you all to know that we will have a safe testing environment. We will be providing testing supplies and water. What I need for you all to make sure your child bring is number 2 pencils, their device fully charged, and come ready to take the test. Students, we'll see you soon. So at this time will be our Q&A. I will exit out the PowerPoint to see if we have any questions.